Dr. Amber A. Khayyum, she is the Director of Instruction on the Board of Trustees of Oasis International School. She is an active member of the strategic leadership team of the school and is primarily involved in capacity building and directs its continuous professional development program. She is also the program leader of the Cambridge Professional Development Qualification Center of the school for teaching and for the educational leadership, training teachers from some of the best schools of Bangalore. Please welcome her with a huge round of applause. This is Dr. Amber. It's all yours, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and a very good afternoon. Hi, Brother Mazhar is here. Okay, so I know it's nice, as Brother Zohair said, that he's shaken you all up, and after the biryani meal that you had, right? And my topic given to me by Sarwat is about self-development, right? And looking at all of you so enthusiastic about, training and self-development, I hope my topic is not irrelevant, right? But this is just to give you an overview. This is more about how we learn, right? Why teachers need to learn, in the sense, learn things that are important for their role as teachers and for their student achievement, right? So we get, and that is my basic role. I'm also a dentist I used to be a dentist by profession, and I kind of gave up and got into the field of education because I thought looking into people's minds is more fun than looking into their mouth, right? So anyway, that's jokes apart. It was more out of a need for schools, or the school that I got involved in was Oasis. And I started my journey of learning and got into education. So you guys have been teachers right from maybe your 16 years or 20 years, but I changed into the field of education pretty late, right? And I went on to do more into teacher training. So like the topic which says that why do teachers really need to learn too, right? And I think now it's pretty common. We do understand the importance of learning, but we'll just get into the basics. So just change the slide. So I'll quickly, the slide, yeah. So this is a big question. Are teachers born or are they made? Is this familiar, or is it a familiar question? Have you ever thought of this? Yeah, okay, you can, I can see people turning around. So give yourself a minute, turn around to the person next to you and talk about this, right? And then we'll share what we think about it. And it's really important to understand from where we are coming, right? What do we think about this particular notion, right? A minute to talk, and then if somebody can take the mics around. Yeah. On which side would you be? Teachers born? Teachers are born teachers? Or do you require teachers to be made? Do they require? And if you can also tell me when you start, for how long you've been a teacher. Yeah. Okay, that'll be interesting.
Very good afternoon and Assalamu alaikum. My name is Tasneem. I'm working as a principal in Silicon. Unless until one have a passion, not fashion at least, passion, you can become a teacher. In society what we say, अरे कुछ काम कर लो, कुछ भी नहीं मिले तो teacher बन जाओ. It is really wrong notion. Teachers, ours is a noble profession. Nobody can be, by birth we have not got our profession our forehead. We never know what we are going to be. First of all, we have to try to be a good human being. Later on, it is their passion. Like, see, this is my 12th years of service. I worked as a kindergarten teacher, then vice principal, then finally I have become principal. It was a very hard journey for me to come to this level. So, according to me, teachers only, see, for the passion only, if you have passion, you want to really help the society, then become a good teacher. Without any knowledge, without learning, please don't come to this field.
Okay, so you've combined the two things, ma'am. You have said.
No, according to me, teachers are made, not born.
Oh, teachers are made, not born?
Yes, not born.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's
this is my conclusion.
Looking at it. Very
Thank
good.
you for getting the opportunity.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to give their opinion?
I'm Farida here.
Okay.
Looking at the question, I wouldn't say a teacher is only in the classroom. A teacher can be in many phases. A mother is a teacher because she instills a lot of values in her children.
Right.
Okay? And then you have spiritual teachers. You've got lot of teachers not confined only to the classroom.
Sure, sure,
That's
sure.
what I believe in.
Very true.
And
That's
to
true.
get into the classroom, yes, you need those skill sets which a classroom teacher needs to mold her students and to do what she wants to do with her students.
Very
Thank
true.
you.
So you want to say that like a parent who's
Yeah.
born
No.
and not, like, she didn't
Yeah,
have
a
to take
teacher is
training.
both made and born. That's what is what I
Okay.
want to say.
All right, good. Okay, thank you for sharing. Yeah. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. According to me, teachers are born because this is a kind of God gift wherein a person has the skills which they further develop with their education and training. So according to me, teachers are born, they are not made. You cannot make a teacher.
Okay.
A teacher who is made will only do the profession. She will be only professional. She will not have the passion. In order to have passion, you need to be born with that kind of feelings or instinct.
Okay.
So teachers are born.
So what is required of teaching has to be inherent,
Yes.
and it's not something that can be developed.
I
Is that
believe
what
that.
you're trying to
Yes.
say? Okay. Okay, fine. Anybody else wants to add here? Nice.
Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon. I think that teachers are born to make the environment and the society to come up like step by step. I think if we are a good teacher, then only we can motivate our children in such a good way that we will be proud that we are born as a teacher. When we give up them a good education, what we are coming for the school. If we think we are coming for a school to give an education for a child, that is a good.
Okay. So you're talking about the role of a teacher, which is to be
It's like a
sincere
second
and-
mother.
Correct. But now that role, is it by birth? Like, is it something that is inherent, and not that cannot be developed, or is it something that can be developed? What you're talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
So what would you think? Is it which way?
If we teachers develop ourselves, we can develop our students also in such a good way that
Okay.
if
So
we
you think it needs to
Yeah.
be developed? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We'll come back to looking at this question again at the end. All right. But for now, because we can't give everyone a chance, if you can just show with raising hands, how many of you believe that teachers are born? Means teachers are born in the sense, yes, we all are born, but like, have the talent, that it is an inherent talent. Okay? So we have a little higher. Okay. Yeah. Can you just quickly just count randomly and keep the numbers? Okay? All right. And the rest of you believe that teachers are made? How many of you think teachers are made? Okay. Fine. So it's either born or made. Anybody in between? Born and made or something like that?
Neutral parties.
Huh?
Neutral.
You born and made? Okay, yeah, that's what I expected some of you to be saying that. Okay, thank you. We'll come back to the answers later. All right, next slide, please. Okay,
Excuse me.
right.
Ex-
Okay, I have a lot of questions. Yes. You want to say something? Oh, sorry, ma'am. Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Teachers are made, in my view, and in few cases, inherited characters are also there, and in few cases, they are made. That's all I
Right.
want to do.
Okay, nice. Thank you. We'll go back and review our assumptions later after the session, okay? So next is, again, a little bit of a thinking activity, is that, again, we'll take around 3 answers. What motivates you to teach? Right? One of you just said, right? You have a desire to change and do good in society. Right. That's one. Anything else that you feel motivates you to teach? Means this is not only about when you start the profession, what motivates you, like ma'am said, she was a principal for so long, right? What keeps you motivated in your profession, right? That, you know, that keeps you going. It doesn't like, I know the next question is the other side, but this question is about what keeps you going. Can you give him the mic, please? Can you hear me if I talk from this?
To bring change in the society as well as to differentiate the different culture.
Have a pen. Sarbat, do you have a white marker? Yeah, sorry ma'am, sorry Simple. Yeah, what did you say?
To bring changes in the society as well as to differentiate the culture.
So your reason for teaching is to
Change.
to bring change in the society. Awesome. Yes. Anything else? Anybody? Any other reason that keeps them going? Yeah, Mazhar.
Ma'am, success of students keeps us motivated to teach.
Okay. Yes.
When they grow, when they develop,
Yes.
that motivates us.
Yes, very true. And we have one student now of Oasis. So proud to see him get an award here. I think Arban. Yes. It really keeps you going. Very nice.
अस्सलामु अलैकुम।
Walaikum.
मैं इस वजह से टीचर बनना चाहता हूँ कि अल्लाह के रसूल सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया बल्लिगु अन्नी वलौ आया। आप उस बात को पहुँचाइए जितना आपको मालूम हो, चाहे एक टुकड़ा ही मालूम हो, आप दूसरों तक पहुँचाइए। इस बात पर मुझे टीचर बनने के लिए आमादा कर रही है।
ठीक है. Very nice. Jazakallahu khair. So he said one is to contribute to change. Then you said, what did he say? One was the religious aspect of it. And what else? Success and development. Success and development. Okay, yes. Yes, the student's success. Okay? So that keeps you motivated. Student success. Anything else? Anything else? Why we keep going in spite of all the challenges like the lockdown?
Yeah, to bring change in the society.
To bring change in the society, yes.
Women empowerment.
Human empowerment,
Yes.
okay. Student success, human empowerment, okay. Yes, so all, okay, anything else? Yeah.
My main motivation for teaching are my children,
Yes.
my students.
The students,
Yeah.
exactly.
When they come and seek knowledge, it is a pleasure to share our knowledge with them and give them our peace of mind to them.
Right.
In such a way that we become role models to them and we bring out the best in them. They are the best motivation for any teacher to carry on this activity.
Exactly. That's the nobility when we say the profession is noble. It's because your giving is empowering you too. It's like a mutual situation where you are transferring or you are transforming lives, and in the process you too are getting transformed, right? You are becoming a better version of yourself, right? And that's what keeps us motivated. Alhamdulillah. What's the next
Another
slide?
thing,
please?
excuse me.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum.
Environment also plays an important role to become a teacher, and it is otherwise called the पैगंबरी पेशा है टीचिंग. इससे भी बहुत सारे इम्प्रेस होती है कि वो टीचिंग प्रोफेशन में आए.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah, that's such
my
a
suggestion-
brilliant point.
yes.
Brilliant point. That a lot of us take up the profession because it is the noble profession. Right? It is by itself, it has so much of respect and character in it that we take on teaching because of the inherent nature, like how you have doctors and, who are, it's a sought after profession. Same way with teaching, right? So thank you. Okay, though of course there's the other side of it that, people like, I don't know when I heard it, that, people become teachers because they didn't get anywhere else, right? That's the common notion that, oh, he didn't get into, the higher order, at least culturally here. Though in Finland and other countries, it is the most sought after profession, right? the best minds get into education, and that itself gives us a lot of encouragement that what we are doing, maybe it's not valued around here, but by itself it has a lot of value, right? Alhamdulillah. And then of course, because we being from a community which believes that whose prophet was sent as a teacher, there's no doubt that we have the respect. Okay, the next slide please. So the next slide is about what frustrates you. Okay. Yeah. So as a teacher, what frustrates you? What makes you at times pull your hair apart? Right? Do we acknowledge that? Do we sometimes feel that, I just could not get this across? Right? Sometimes we get stuck. Right? So what are the things that frustrate you as a teacher? A few points.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
When we fail to impress children, we get frustrated.
When you fail to
Impress children.
Okay. All right. Means you can't get your point across.
Yeah.
Or you can't get them motivated.
It seems like when we don't get along them very well, when we don't approach them, or they don't get approached properly.
Very true.
Or whatever we have to convey to them is not conveyed properly. All these things, it means like we are not impressing them properly.
Right.
So this makes us frustrated.
Yeah, that's true. That probably you could use a better word for it, but your point is excellent. It's that what really frustrates you is that sometimes when you are unable to put what you want to say across, and students are not engaged in what you want to tell them, right? Right. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Anything else that frustrates them?
Not able to manage naughty childs.
Yeah, not able to manage some of the children, right? So yes, that is a very, very, one of the biggest challenges in a classroom setting, that you cannot manage some children who are different, right? And then, then the cycle starts that you send them out, and then you call them names, and then, the cycle goes on. Inside, in your heart, that's not the best thing to do. But I empathize with teachers, because somehow they have to go with the majority. Why should this child distract, right? Excellent. Anything else that frustrates you in your day,
Ma'am, 1 minute.
What's not good? The results are not good. Because they haven't studied, right? You were unable to motivate them to study, right? And not only your fault. It's not you who didn't motivate. They were not motivated. Okay, so I'll put it very general. I am all for teachers, right? Anything else?
Ma'am, the frustration is today's education system is only oriented, scoring marks, complete your curriculums, and we are not teaching our children for life skills. See, the pandemic has taught us a lesson.
Yeah.
Only skills, those who had skills and talent could survive.
Yes.
Others could, nothing
Very
we could
true.
do.
Yeah.
So I retaliate about our present education system.
Yes.
Some change has to be occurred.
Yes. Being
For
principal,
example,
I'm sure you've gone through it.
ma'am, engineering student cannot fix a bulb. Electronic engineer.
Yeah.
That is the irony of education.
Yes, it's not practical.
Sorry if I am wrong. Practically we are not teaching them.
Yeah.
Only theoretically we are making them.
Yes. So
That is the thing.
very true. What frustrates teachers is the system they are in, right? The educational system they are in, right? Anything else? Anything else that frustrates us as teachers? Yeah. Come on, everybody participate. I'm sure all of you have had some times when you were really frustrated. Okay, yeah. She'll talk and then you, yeah?
Okay, who's going
Oh, you
first?
don't have a... We can't hear you, ma'am.
Okay,
Okay,
actually
let's
my
talk and
point...
then give you the
Okay,
mic.
shall I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my point is not just about a teacher, it's about teaching, emulating corporate sector, where you
Yes.
have introduced the concept of late sittings, very unimpressive packages, and long working hours. Like you let the child go at 2:30, but you want your teachers to stay till 4 o'clock to plan for the next day.
Yes.
See, we have kids hour at home, so who's going to take
The
care of them?
pressure, the pressure.
The long working hours, it's
The
no more a
stress.
part of the hospitality industry, it's a corporate sector now. You
Yeah.
are required to put in same level of efforts, hours, and what do you get?
Yeah.
Something better than peanuts maybe if you are lucky to join a good school. That's it.
Very good. Thank you
you.
so much for being so open, and that's very, very true, that it's the, the system that does not give value to the teacher as a human being, and sometimes, overloads and puts a lot of pressure. If things go wrong, it's the teacher. If everything is going well, it's the school. Yeah, so it's a lot of times the credit is not really with the teacher, it goes somewhere else, but when it comes to failure, the results, yes, it's the teacher, right? So yes, the stress levels for teachers is very, very high. Very true. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, and ma'am also. Okay, last, we'll then go to the next.
Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. It frustrates a teacher when the achievement level, what we are expecting is not up to the level. And when we see the blank faces of the student.
Yeah.
And when they are not speedy, what the work is being assigned, when they are not speedy doing that work. All this makes us
our
frustrated.
expectations sometimes don't meet that. We expect something and the child is unable to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we feel frustrated, and then we transfer our frustration on the child, and then
Yeah.
we blame the child, and then the parent, and then,
When we don't get the proper output
Yes.
from our input, what we have given the knowledge.
Correct. Very true. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
I want to keep one point here.
Yeah.
When teacher wants the student to be 100% in the studies, so the teacher is actively participating to improve the child. But sometimes she need parents' help also. When
And
some of the
parents
parents are not at all understanding what the teacher wants, some parents support in the homework to understand the child, they will not cooperate. All the parents will not cooperate for the students.
Very
This
true.
point I want to.
Very, very good point again. I am feeling bad I didn't put it up. I think these points were really excellent. So what you said was the parent support. Sometimes you feel frustrated because, parents are not cooperating with you. Very nice. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. Okay. So I don't have any answers, right, to all the questions that I'm putting across. It is just to make you think, right? All the solutions are with us, right? But sometimes we don't think of the problems, right? Okay, the next slide. Okay, this is, so we are coming to an understanding that teaching, like teachers and teaching itself, is a very, very complex task, right? It has, a lot happening. There are like long hours, there is a complexity, there are, naughty children who are, not manageable and things like that, right? And now to add to this whole, kind of a, chaos, you have the 21st century learning, right? And what do I mean when I say, I think all of you would have heard 21st century learning, right? What are the three things that are causing us to think of teaching differently in the 21st century? Quickly, come on, I'm not going to take too much time over this. You guys should tell me, okay? The pandemic has taught us. What are the three things that are really responsible for a change in 21st century teaching learning? What do you think? Anybody? Come on, this should not take us even a second now.
Skills and virtual learning.
Technology. Technology is the thing, right? Technology has changed the way we are going to look at things and the way you should be looking at teaching learning, right? And I'm sure Habib Bhai also in the morning would have touched upon some of the skill sets, right? So that's one thing. What's the second thing? What's the second thing?
Virtual learning.
Virtual learning, exactly. That's coming in because of technology, right? Anything else? What else? It's related to technology. What's the outcome of technology coming in? To be more adaptive. Excellent. That's an excellent answer. What else? What is expected now? Okay, what I'll do is, this is a 10-minute video, an 8 to 10-minute video. I've inserted it. Can you play that video? And you can put the music down. It's a YouTube video. Can you just click on it? Huh? The blue one. If click on it, it will come. Just click on that blue thing. So the point that I'm trying to make is that the complexity of teaching, learning is just becoming worse than what it was. We all have our frustrations, all have our issues about how to make all the children learn, you know, how to get them to get the good marks and how to deal with the system and, you know, the workload. And here we have another big mountain ahead of us, which is the 21st century learning, right? It's not playing? Is it? It's not playing? Okay. Okay, fine. We can just go ahead. It's no problem. But basically, it's talking about the fact that now you have the internet, you have knowledge all around you. You who were expected to be the people to transfer knowledge, now suddenly you are not required to do the knowledge giving. So what are you going to do? Are teachers becoming obsolete, or is our role changing? Right? Yeah. Our role changing, yeah, thank you. So that's the whole point. Now, when the role is changing, are we aware of what is expected of us to make the 21st century learners able for the future that they are living in, right? Are we able to do that? Are we equipping ourselves to do that? And what do we need to do to equip ourselves to? Right? So these are big questions, and I'm sure some of you spend sleepless nights sometimes, you know, when you have, things in front of you, your students are not, maybe sometimes not understanding, but sometimes you don't know how you are, or whether you're doing a good job or not, like you said. Like, I am teaching them, but what I'm teaching is not going to be good enough for them, right? So am I doing my job well? Am I answerable? And as we said, as a community, are we being accountable to the profession that we are in, right? Are we going to be able to say, yes, we did our job well, right? Ultimately, we are answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is about that. So are we equipping ourselves to deal with the 21st century, right? And I didn't get the third answer yet. So one is, we said technology. Technology is causing us to look at our role differently, where we are not transferring knowledge, but we are creating knowledge. We have to become innovators, like someone said. We have to have adaptive expertise. We should be able to adapt to the situation and make children also adapt. Make children, you know, problem solvers, decision makers, right? We have to teach them team building, right? Are we doing those skills, and are we equipped to take these skills or nurture these skills in our students, right? And the third thing that is really the crux of 21st century, like I said, we don't know what we are training our children for, because the way things have changed in just 1 or 2 years. Imagine when they grow up, you know, a kindergarten child becomes a, 20-year-old kid, the whole world will be different. So what are you doing sitting and teaching them ABC, right? That even the video is teaching them now, right? They have videos, they have even, when they were online, children have learned so many things. It kind of proved in some way that teachers are not the sole, givers of knowledge, right? So knowledge is transferred in so many ways, and it is co-created. So that is the big challenge. And the third thing, what we have to really teach our children is the behavior to learn, learning to learn, understanding how to learn. And that is the biggest, skill that we have. So we have to get them into research. We have to get them to think about how they are learning, what made them learn, questioning them, because everything is on the internet, right? You have textbooks on the internet. You have everything there. So what is your role going to be, right? So basically what I'm trying to point at is the complexity of the teaching profession, which is just getting more and more complex. Okay, next slide. All right, now the next bombshell on you. What do these things imply? Just read those two statements there.
Notwithstanding the influence of factors such as socio-economic status, home and community, student learning is strongly influenced by what and how teachers teach.
Yeah, what I want you to do, all of you, is to just read those two statements and tell me what is the implication of that. Okay? What do these two statements point towards? One thing we've realized is about the complexity. What's the second thing for us? Now, these are the thinking questions that we have to give our students to. We don't have to tell them what it is. We have to ask them to think, right? What are these two statements pointing towards?
Ma'am, it is about homeschooling. No.
Right, but what is the...
In my opinion, it talks about the bigger role a teacher now has to embrace. It is not just about limiting himself or herself to the textbook or the knowledge given in the books. You have to take your kids beyond. Tell them what is not there in the books. It's not just about providing them information or processing information for them. You have to prepare them for a bigger role, and that role is nowhere in the text. It has to come from you. From your end as a teacher, you need to talk about all those things. It's not just about standing there and finishing your lecture.
Okay, you have it, but what I really need is just 3 words.
3 words, I can't be so concise.
Just 3 words, 3 important words.
Okay, give me some time then.
Yeah, sure. So, both these two statements are pointing towards 3 important words.
Ma'am, as you told, the statement goes here. Everything, see nowadays, with a click of a button, knowledge is being acquired to them. As you told, no need to teach them knowledge. The thing is, a trainer is needed, you know. See, someone is needed. See, no technology can replace teaching. Teachers are needed. We are the guide, we are the mentors for the students.
So what about teachers is needed?
They have to guide them. See, everything is in the platter. Ultimately, the child has to eat it.
So what about teachers is needed? Come on, teacher.
Ma'am, to guide them.
Yes.
To guide them, to show them.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'll give you the 3 words. It is just simple as what these 2 statements are telling us is that teacher quality matters. Teaching quality matters. It's not about blaming somebody else, that the parents are not there, or the child is like this, the child is naughty, the child is like... Everything, research proves that everything rests on the teacher. If the teacher has the skills, she can do it. Right? Yeah. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Here I would like just to bring one thing in mind. Basically, I am coming from the technology background. I am leading a team in Extra Marks. Now, I have the knowledge of IIT. What generally now we are speaking about knowledge. Technology is one source which can give you information. Okay, and there is a difference between information and knowledge. And the role what the teacher has is to convert that information into knowledge. Yes. I'll give you an example. I have just gone reviewing some papers of some lower classes, and there was some chemistry question wherein a question was asked why there is need to apply calamine when an ant bites. I don't know to which grade, maybe 6th or 7th standard it belongs to. Now here is the role of a teacher, that the teacher is expressing in the class the way how he or she has to express. When I saw the answer, I was very much astonished. Why? Because the words that the student have used were very funny, very amazing. Do you know what the kid have written? The kid have answered that one ant came, it got onto my body, it bite, and one bump came. Okay, there is a small bump. My mother applied one lotion and it got, cured. So this is not the way. Now, why that problem came? The answer could have been very professional. The answer could have been very technical. The teacher, if he had used a correct word, technical word, okay, and if he has converted that information into a knowledge, surely the kid would have answered it in a very proper way. Correct. Generally, we all teachers, we have that problem. Student make the mistake while writing the answers. And most of us, we neglect, thinking that he is a poor student, he may not get uplifted. So it is our role to uplift that student, correct that particular person, and what ma'am have mentioned, that it is how the teacher is teaching in the class that matters. So I would relate these statements to this incident and would request all the teachers who are working harder for the upliftment of ourselves. And at the beginning there was a question, do the teachers have to learn? Of course everyone have to learn. That is what is my opinion, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So you've given the whole gist of it, but the point is that what you tried to say is that the teacher quality, the teacher's characteristic is really important, right? Everything can be converted into something more meaningful if the teacher knows how to do it, right? So the how of teaching is really important. Yeah.
Hello.
Patient, caring and kind personality.
Right. Right. So those are the quality. Right.
Patient, caring and kind personality. It implies
Yes. So the teacher quality is, one of the aspects of a teacher is to be empathetic, to be patient and kind and things like that. So the whole idea is that how do we become that kind of teacher, right? Okay, next slide.
So, madam, first we have to, excuse me, first we have to
Next
understand.
slide, please. Yeah.
First we have to understand the psychology of a very individual, that is child. Then we have to give whatever the learning we are giving to him.
So we have to understand how children learn, right?
So
And
that,
then,
like that we have to put in his mind.
yeah.
So
Very
that brings some changes. As per our knowledge, if we go, it never run. So we have to first understand the psychology of a child.
Very true. So my point here is that we are trying to look at why learning is important for teachers, right? So we first looked at the complexity of the teaching profession. Now we are looking at the fact that, secondly, we said your role is changing because of 21st century. And the third point that is now coming up is that teacher quality matters. All these three things are pointing towards the fact that teachers have to constantly keep updating themselves and upgrading their knowledge, right? And kind of becoming better at whatever they are doing, right? So that's the point. And I think these two are from research. But if you look at it, everything that influences the student, maximum times the stake is with the teacher. The teacher is, for whatever the student, the achievement of the student is mostly dependent on everything that the teacher does, not so much what the school does or not so much what the parents do. Yes, that is just 5% or 10%. But the maximum thing is, it's the student himself, his cognitive ability. So that's where you guys should not tear your hair apart and say, oh, this child is just not learning and it is my responsibility. And no, you're not 100% responsible. There is this ability and this intelligence which is inherent in the child, but that is 50%. The maximum stake then falls on teachers, right? So there will be some children who are doing brilliantly well. You'll see the curve going up. But what about those children who are not so able? That's where your responsibility comes in, to flatten the curve. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The curve in your classroom will be like this. You'll have a chunk of people who are understanding everything and you think you're doing your job. But what about those children who are down? So your role comes in is to flatten that curve, to raise these two at the other ends, okay, and get them also to that mark. Okay, so next slide. Now, this is what I said. Some conclusions that we can draw from what I've just, spoken about. One is that teaching is complex. Yes or no, we all agree? Yes? Consensus? Anybody says teaching is too easy? No. Role of teaching is changing. True? Yes. Quality teaching matters. Yes? Right? It's not that everybody can teach the same way, right? A good teacher can take the child 2 years up, right? If a student is with a teacher who's less than average, the child is losing at least 6 to 8 months of her teaching. And if the teacher is above average or exceptional, the child might gain 2 years. These are all research factors, a lot of research done. So that's the kind of amount, or that's the, I would say, level of teacher importance that the children's achievement has. Okay, next slide. So now what does this mean for you as teachers? That's the big question. Like brother just said, that learning is important, and I'm sure that's a consensus now, that as teachers we have to continue learning. All right, so next slide please. Now this again is a little bit, so how can we do that, right? So we all agree that teachers need to learn. Next slide. Now again, there are 4 things for you to think about. Okay, I will take 3 answers again. Read those 4 things that are there. Right? As teachers, you have to tell me, when did you feel that you learned something new? Right? As teachers, are we all learning something new every day? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, great. Now if you can think and pinpoint and let's give nice thoughtful answers to this. When do you think you actually really learned? When was that aha moment for you? I said, oh wow, I never knew this could happen like this. When did that happen? So we are trying to pinpoint what in our environments is making us learn better. Okay? So we all don't have to rush to a qualification program to become great teachers. That's not what I'm trying to say. But there are ways that you can constantly keep learning. And that's what we are trying to pinpoint. So let us hear 3 answers from you. Any 3 answers when you feel you learned. Okay, let's keep the answers short, but quickly come to the point, telling me what you think makes teachers learn. Anybody?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yes.
Ma'am, I don't feel ashamed to say that I learn from my students.
Awesome. Okay. Okay. So you learned in the classroom itself. Your students teach you in the sense that they teach you things that you didn't know, or
Actually, based on the new technologies where I don't get time to read, the students give me more information about that.
Okay. So basically, yes, your environment and students who are better at technology. Okay, fine. That's a good answer too. Anybody else?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, here, ma'am.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So initially, I was feeling that I don't have the patience to do the teaching. So always I used to feel low. But then as I started, the way I got the feedback from my students, I do online coding classes. So the way the students gave me the feedback, it made me more motivated actually. I used to feel, okay, I have this knowledge. But the questions the students had, it made me to learn more actually.
Okay.
Like the way
so your kind of reflection on the teacher, on the students' feedback helped you learn.
Helped me,
right?
it actually motivated me. And also the way they question me. I used to feel that they are more intelligent than me actually. I should learn from them, because even though I feel that I'm doing the good coding classes, the way they give me the feedback, they tell me that you're a very good teacher. But there are certain other students who are completely exceptional. The way they question me, I myself get surprised.
And then what do you do next? What's your second step?
I do the research in the internet
awesome.
to answer them.
Okay.
So whatever they keep on questioning me, I keep on making notes and I'll tell them, I'll make sure to answer in the next class.
Awesome.
So what I'll do is I'll completely research on that and then I'll try to answer them.
Very nice.
They'll feel satisfied. It motivates me.
True. So you've given us 2-3 points there. So one was, this is like individual research. You research yourself based on the feedback and you learn. Okay. Anything else? Any other way that you guys learn? Come on. I'm sure there are lots of ways you learn. You all are not learning in school? Besides students? No? You don't learn other ways? Come on. Yeah. You don't have a mic. Yeah, for your thing. So basically individual research. Okay, good. Anything else?
Yes.
How else do you learn?
Is it about teacher learning or teacher feeling empowered?
Teacher, what makes you feel that you've learned something today, right? So there must be something in the environment that is empowering you and making you better.
See, day-to-day learning is happening, self-learning is happening. Even we learn from our peers, okay? When you go to...
Very good. That's the word I'm looking for. You learn from your colleagues,
Yes.
right? You learn from an informal dialogue that you pick up the phone and say, talk to somebody, say, I just couldn't do this in the class. can you tell me? And then that person, that other say, yeah, I had the same problem. Maybe it can happen in your staff room. I have the same problem with this child, and what I did was this. So didn't you learn?
Yes, of course, and since we have all those WhatsApp groups,
Yes.
so the channel
Yes.
of information is like that cycle is going out.
Yes.
There's no stop to it.
Very good. So that's again something that you're sensitizing yourself towards. This is also learning. When you are on forums where you are discussing your, basic issues, you are learning so much. Okay, anything else? Feedback, exactly. They just said that, yes. Anything else? Okay, I'll go to the next slide. So these are a few ways that you usually would learn, right? Like she said, individual or collaborative research. Okay, so these are very technical terms, how you collaborate and you research and you come to conclusions. So you gather data, you kind of decide, okay, I'm going to try this new strategy today, and 2 or 3 of our teachers are going to get together to try this, and then we'll see if it works. That's learning. You come up with a new way to do things. That's collaborative research. Okay? Then you learn through informal dialogues, you learn through qualification programs. I'm sure all of you would be, attending some, basic, maybe a qualification means somewhere where you really put your mind and to it and, study books and things like that. But training like 2-day training, 3-day training, usually don't have too much of an impact. It's only when you get deeper into studying it yourself, researching, that it will actually make an impact on the way you do things. Otherwise, you might learn of a new strategy, beginning of the year, all schools do a big training program, and they tell you about that many, new ways of doing things. But do they actually make you change the way you do things? Right? So we'll just quickly get into what really is the crux of learning in the next 2 slides. And as you said, CPD, something that is happening continuously in your school in terms of a mentoring program or things like that. Okay, next slide. So the next slide is basic. Okay, this is something to read about, which says that effective teachers possess a variety of skill sets that just seem to appear magically. Effective teachers who are really having an impact on their students, like you guys said, I'm teaching, but the results are not good. So what is the secret of effective teachers, right? And this is what it says, that effective teaching is all about reflecting on your own practice and coming up with ways to improve it, like what the teacher there said, that you reflect and it could be on a student feedback, what the feedback student gives you, and you reflect on that and you come up with a better strategy to do it better next time, right? So the crux of effective teaching is reflecting on your own practice. But it's not just thinking to yourself and say, I thought about it, and it's not going to change if you just do reflection. Is not the same thing as just thinking about it. Reflection has to be structured, right? Okay, next slide. So just one sec, the whole truth of the matter, the last line is important, is that effective teachers aren't born with it. The it of an effective teacher is developed through the reflection process over a period of time. Right? So this is somewhere answering our first question, that you will not be born with a way to do things. You have to actually work towards it. Right? So you cannot get away with saying that, oh, she does it so well because she has the flair for it. Or because she's born as a, she's a born teacher. That is actually constraining. That is making you give an excuse to say that I can't do it, she can because she's a born teacher. Right? It is deterring you from professional development. It is becoming an excuse that, oh, she can do it because she has it in her. You know how some teachers have it. So instead of becoming a positive thing, it's actually negative to the profession of teaching. This notion that teachers are born with it is negative. And it is actually killing the profession. Because teachers start thinking that whatever happens in the classroom, I have to do it myself. There's no way I can become better at it. Right? So you keep it to your classrooms, you don't share it. You don't want anybody coming into your class. You manage somehow, you put all the negative things under the carpet and you go on. right? Because of this notion in our heads that I can't become better. But every teacher can become better. Though it is a lifetime's job to become better, but every teacher can become better than what she is. So the reason why we do professional development is not to, to point out the bad in you, but to make sure that all teachers go to the next level, right? Okay, next point, and quickly I'll go through these slides now. So when we say effective teachers need to be reflective, what will make reflection effective? That's the question that we need to ask, right? As I said, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions today. So what do you think will make reflection effective? Can anybody quickly tell me what makes reflection? And I just need words. I don't need stories here. Application of knowledge. Okay, so that means you need to have the knowledge, right? So the first thing is that you have to have the right knowledge. Okay, so that's one thing. Okay, anything else that is required of you for your reflection to be effective? Pardon? Presentation, not so much. For you to be reflective, for your reflection to be effective, one thing I already said actually, I said it has to be structured. Okay, so your reflection has to be like, this is what happened in my class, so what does it mean to me, and now what am I going to do next? Right? So like she said, okay, there was something, the children told me about this, now what am I going to do about it? I research and I decide that I need to always plan beforehand. So my reflection itself has made me a better teacher, because my reflection is structured, and there are like five ways to reflect, right? So there are a lot of theories on reflection. And again, it is about professional development. When you get into, reading about the ways to reflect, you'll understand. What are the other two things? And those are very, very, I would say mundane, but critical to make your reflection effective. Awesome. Yeah, to learn. Yes, very good. That is what you call, and you all would have heard about it, is the growth mindset. That it is not inherent. The talent is not inherent. I can become better. Ability is not just there. Everyone can become able, right? Carol Dweck, her theories on, see, everything about what she says is not that we take it as it is, but certain things that she has said about students, and then also it applies to teachers. Okay, so what ma'am said, somebody else said something else. What's the third thing? Creative? What? The second word?
Creative teaching.
Creative teaching. But that is important, but is that important for reflection? The creative reflection, yes. But there's something else that is really important.
Acceptance, that you have to accept that you have to upgrade yourself.
Yeah, that's what she said.
You always can't argue or tell that you know everything.
Correct.
So you have to accept
Very
that
good.
you're lagging somewhere.
Very good. So that's the growth mindset. The third thing. Okay, I have to give out the answer. Yeah. What? Yeah, but that's accepted. For reflection, you have to start with something to reflect on. True. You need an incident or something. What's the third thing which is really important? And who will give you that knowledge? And who will push you to reflect? Now I'm giving you the answer. Who will push you to reflect? Children, and who else? Management. So there has to be guidance. Okay, somewhere you're right. It has to be guidance, or what you call mentoring. Right? So you need to have a mentor who will ask you those right questions. Right? What did you learn? Okay, so what should you do next? Somebody who you can talk to, somebody who you can trust, somebody who has more experience and more knowledge than what you have, and who can guide you. Right? So that's the real. Okay, next slide, please. So that's the important triangle here. The essential interaction of the three main ingredients of any PD strategy, right? Any professional development will work. One thing is the reflection has to be structured. You have to have a growth mindset. You should be ready to learn. And then third is your mentor or a critical friend who will tell you, whether you are right or not. Okay, so next slide. So what are all these three things? I'll just go through it. This is what a cycle looks like. what knowledge and skills do teachers need, it's a cycle. So you understand what children need, what are the skills that you need, and you bring them together, and your learning cycle goes on. So you need to reflect on what is it that the children need in the 21st century, what is it that you need as a 21st century teacher, and you reflect and you go ahead. Should I teach this? Will it be helpful to them or not? And then you go to the next level. Okay, I'm done. Okay. Quickly, this is what growth mindset is about, is a passion to learn, like you guys said. Where am I going? How am I doing? And where to next? Okay? It's okay to not know, but it's not okay to not try. Again, coming back to our first thing, teachers can be made, right? Okay, next one. Next one is a fixed mindset, which a lot of us, probably we don't know, but we kind of have it. So if I was to give you something like, you tell me which mindset my statement will go into. You know what, somebody comes and tells me that, oh, your class was, the children were just not listening to you today. Why do you think that happened? And I go and say, no, actually, I did everything right. It was just afternoon time and the children were not, attentive and things like that. Right? Now, what kind of fixed mindset is that? Tell me. Which one? Huh? Blame it on the rain. Yeah, it's an excuse. Very nice. Okay, maybe something like when you say, I was just not, I never got the right push to become, the teacher I am. I just am not, the right kind of a person. What mindset is that? Which one? First, right? Like always kind of taking on that thing that, I did not get the environment. I don't have a good school. The children are always like that. That's why I'm not able to perform, right? Or it would be like, somebody keeps telling you, yes, that was not right. Yeah, that was not right. Oh, you didn't do this in the class. You didn't, use your, the board properly. Yeah, I didn't do that. Oh, you did not, explain the objectives. Oh, I didn't do that. What would that be? What kind of a fixed mindset is that? Come on. When you're just saying yes, yes, yes to everything, but nothing is registering there.
No, ma'am. Teacher has to be, her mindset has to be should not be fixed to her. She has to adapt new challenges and everything. See, necessity is the mother of invention. So from there where the technology pin to pen it has come.
Yeah, right.
Even man is going to space. The same way, teacher cannot fix her mind to only the age-old teacher method of teaching and all.
True.
New technologies,
So
everything we spoke.
What happens is when you get a feedback,
Yes,
like I
she
said, you
has to
might
take.
have-
Yes, she has to take a
it in
feedback.
a positive way.
Yes.
If she takes it personally as if it's her ego, like, I can't let my ego get hurt. Or if she, makes a new story that, no, this happened and that happened
Yeah.
and that happened. That's why I didn't do it.
She has to stop the blame game, ma'am. Blaming all the time student is not good.
Yes,
Student should not be blamed at all. Sometimes teacher has to, she
Both
has
ways.
to
Both
accept
ways.
the things.
Yes,
Thank you.
So that's the whole point of this whole session, that teachers need to, thank you ma'am, you need to have a growth mindset. You need to be ready to learn. You need to be accepting that you can learn. That it's not that you don't have it or it's not there, but it needs to be the next step. Okay, the last slide, I think. Oh my God. Okay, this is about a mentor. You can skip this slide. And that's the last one. So basically, teachers, we teachers need opportunities to grow. We need a good culture to grow. We need a good organization that helps us grow, which creates the atmosphere and the, I would say, the way they, have some teachers mentoring other teachers and things like that, have programs to help teachers grow is important. Teachers need to have the right mindset, the growth mindset, a passion to learn, and the last things teachers need critical friends and mentors as guide to help them reflect. Okay, thank you so much for listening to me, and good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khair, and that really brought the burning issues out from you. When, when that slide came about the frustration, I think the real points came in there, and you also nipped it in the bud, and she also rightly addressed the points. Now the situation remains like one other teacher there was telling that an electronics engineer cannot fix a bulb. That's right. I am also an yes, ma'am. I've also done my electronics from St. Joseph's College of Arts and Science. But however, I do not have any interest in electronics. The reason why I chose electronics is because my friends who were there with me, who were going into engineering and MBBS. If I do not do electronics, then what is the point? That is how I went into electronics. That system of going with what the students, what my friends are doing has to change. What is my interest is what we have to do, and that is when we will excel, and the children will also achieve their target, and that is when the society will develop and the nation at large, and that is what we are looking at. And as teachers, I think this is very important that you capitalize on the potential of the student. Like one other suggestion that came was, we are only behind the marks and the system, and not exact, the children are not learning. That is very well said, and that is, but the system is such that we cannot move out of it. But as teachers, we need to go that extra mile, we need to go that extra step and see to it that we are able to identify the talent of the student and portray him so that he gets that platform and he is able to excel. Jazakallahu khairan, ma'am, for getting those points. Barakallahu feek. Next, we move on to the next topic, that is developing one's potential as a teacher. The earlier session was self-development. Now we move on to developing one's potential as a teacher. Our next orator is Brother Muhammad Ismail Irshad. Muhammad Ismail Irshad. Before I do that, I would like to invite Dr. Amber on stage for the felicitation, ma'am, and request Sarwat ma'am to please come on stage as well. Can you please do the honors quickly? Jazakallah khair, ma'am, for that. Earlier during the day, ma'am, we did honor a teacher who is 70 plus, mashallah, and with 30 years of experience. She is there, and she is also the eldermost in the group here today. One of the educationists of our times, and from the olden age that we have here. Thank you so much. It's an honor for us and for Dr. Amber as well for doing the honors.